Okay, what I'm doing is I'm retesting my water filter, and I've collected more water from the pond. This time I've done the exact opposite to what you should do. I stirred up the sediments in the water and I've collected water like that, and you'll agree it's much more murkier than the first water I collected, and it hasn't been strained as well like I showed in previous videos. It's a straight murky water with sediments mixed up, not even strained. Keep one as a control, and one looks dirtier than the other one. Perhaps when I collected the second one, the water started to settle. So what I do, I'm going to put through the dirtier one. I'm not sure if you can tell, one looks a bit more dirtier. Yeah, I'll keep the cleaner one as a control. I could have cheated and put the clean one through, but I'll put the dirty one through and we'll see how the water filter works. I just want to show you very quickly my control sample of water. And there it is. If you recall how that looked, and I'll shake it up in a second to show you, that's been sitting for not even, well, maybe 10-15 minutes, and look at the visible layer of sludge down the bottom. And that's why I was talking about the pond water. That's why the pond water is so fairly clean, a nice still pond. That's sedimentation. And that's the first basic step to water treatment, is just to leave your container, and you can see after just like 10 or 15 minutes, the sludge down the bottom. I'm going to get this water and we'll have a look at the results. Now what I'm going to do is shake it up so everything's mixed up nice and fair to both samples. I think that's a good test now. I'm not saying that water's crystal clear. I'm not saying my water filter is the best in the world. I'm just saying you can physically see a difference now in the water. That's straight from the pond with the sedimentation mixed up. And that's been filtered only one time. What I might do is run this through a second time just for kicks and see what happens. Alright, the water's been run through twice now. Put that back into my container. And there's the water. I'll shake them both up, get those sediments mixed up, and I think that's a better result. The first time the water was too clean. So I think I've shown a few good things here. The water filter, of course, works. Demonstrated the principle of sedimentation, where you just let water sit and the gunk's going to come out. And I would imagine what's left in there is microscopic particles, which obviously the water filter can't filter out because it's microscopic. And that's where you can get like special, filters and sub-micron filters and so forth that can remove all the very smallest microscopic particles. And of course that's why my pond water was so clean, because of sedimentation was working. It's a nice still pond, the water's not been mixed up, and if you follow those 3 guidelines to collecting standing water, don't disturb the water, wave material away from the surface with your palm of your hand or your hand, and just collect slowly and softly from the very surface, not to mix up the water. You'll get nice clean water from the top, and you can see how if you just leave a container for long enough, even 10-15 minutes, even now, in just a couple of that wasn't even 1 minute, and I've already got a sludge building up down the bottom there. Look at that. And that wasn't even a minute when I mixed it up. So you can see how sedimentation is a form of water treatment. You can just leave your containers lying around, strain it. That's pretty much the done deal. That can be boiled and drunk for sure. And then one more quick point that I should make is that I've passed water through my water filter 4 times now, and it was becoming very slow. Of course there's a limit to how many times you can, or how much water you can filter through these makeshift water filters, because obviously they're going to get clogged up by dirt. That was 4 times, becoming very slow. So I'm thinking roughly 6 to 10 uses before you should replace the material inside, especially if your water is dirty that you're filtering through. If it's not too dirty, maybe more than 6 or 10 times. So just be careful about that. Obviously the filter's going to get clogged up by dirt. These 2 bottles have been sitting here for a couple of hours now, and that's pretty much the money shot. This obviously is what's gone through the water filter, and there isn't a visible particle in there. There's a couple of specks I can see, but for all intents and purposes there's nothing in there. It's murky. They're the microscopic particles. That's the water, the control sample, and that's been settling now for a couple of hours. Almost a centimetre thick of sludge on the bottom. So that pretty much says it all for the water filter. And I don't think you can get that any cleaner in the field. That's what I'm going to say. as far as making water filters are concerned. Except if you distill. Sure, you can distill and make it perfect. And if I shake that again, we'll get it back to that state it was before. But as you can see, there's not a visible particle in my filtered water. I can shake that up and it's going to be the same. Any questions, let me know. If anything's confusing, let me know. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next time.